So this coming week, the weather's supposed to break. And I don't mean it's time to plant necessarily outside yet. It's close, but it's supposed to be in the 50s, where we've had that it's been in the teens this previous week. So what are you supposed to do? You start planning, you start thinking. There's plum tomatoes dancing in our heads. And you'd have to decide. It's like, all right, am I going to start seeds and have my own seedlings? Am I going to buy plants? What am I going to do? And here's how you decide. First of all, the different varieties of tomatoes that you can get in plants and peppers and other things. But a pack of seeds, like there's a bunch of seeds. I'm rattling a pack of seeds that's in my hand. So if you go to YouTube, subscribe, please, and ring that bell. You'll see me holding this pack of seeds, and there's hundreds of seeds in here, and even in some of the smaller packs of like squash or even tomatoes, that there's dozens and dozens of seeds. I don't think you want the same tomato plant in your garden where you've got everything is the same. Like if you buy, let's just make it generic. If you want beefsteak tomatoes, you don't want to buy a pack of beefsteak tomato seeds, start the seedlings, and then have that's all that's in your garden. No, you want to try different things. You want to have San Marzano plum tomatoes. You want to have beefsteak, Superstar, Jetstar, Supersonics, Big Boy, Big Girl, Early Girl. You can do that when you get plants. But if you're buying seeds, you're stuck. You got one variety. And we only have so much room to also start seeds. So make sure that you're not investing in packs of seeds and end up where you, one, don't have the room to start them. And number two, where you have one type of squash, one type of cucumber. So if you're going to buy a pack of cucumber seeds, which you can, and they'll grow in the ground, which we're going to talk about in our segment coming up. But you want pickling cucumbers. You want long or burpless cucumbers. You want regular slicing cucumbers. And you don't necessarily, if you're buying a pack of seeds, all of a sudden, you have more plants than you have room in your garden, especially with cucumbers. So start thinking about that, because there are some people that really, they only want, they want to do a big section of one type of plant and one variety. Great, then that's what you do. But there's also some plants that you're just going to sow directly in the ground, and that's what's coming up in our second segment. So what plants do we want to buy as opposed to start from seed? Now just think about this. Peppers. My God. The selection of peppers that we have at Bloomers, first of all, peppers are every spectrum of the Scoville scale. And the Scoville scale will rate the hotness of peppers. Everything from ghost peppers, Carolina Reapers, to things that I don't have any idea why people in their right mind eat. But they do. They want to have that hottest pepper. I don't know. Is it a manly thing?
It may be so. I watched a show called First We Feast where they do the hot wing challenge where it's like 100,000 Scovilles and pepper. It's like at that point, what are you tasting at that point? Like it tastes like TV static.
I'll tell you what, man, it's pain. It's pain. But then again, if you want to get 4 Carolina Reaper peppers to fool your friends, here, try this.
Yeah,
not cool. But you can grow them. And then you can also grow long hots. I mean, we are outside of Philadelphia in New Jersey, Gloucester County, Bloomers Home and Garden Center. Come and visit us. That they will want long hots. Got any long hots? Got any long hots? Got any long hots? We sell more long hot peppers, I think, than even bell peppers. But then there's another thing. Bell peppers. If you're buying packs of seed for bell peppers and you have green peppers, yellow peppers, orange peppers, purple peppers, you have all of these seeds, you can just buy the plants And you can have the whole rainbow of colors of bell peppers in your garden when you're buying the plants. So don't go crazy with buying packs of seed. I think that they sit there on your counter. They make you feel guilty. How come you haven't started these?
Because Peter Piper picked the pepper. Right? No.
Picked a peck of peppers because he bought seeds rather than just plants. There you go.
That was a simple
Don't be a Peter Piper.
No, please don't.
So, but eggplants. Eggplants are another one where it's like, okay, first thing, eggplant Parmesan. I mean, this is terrible to admit. I don't like eggplant.
Neither do I.
No? TJ, do you like eggplant? You're eating something. Huh?
No, I don't like eggplant.
You don't like eggplant. I think it's women like eggplant. I think like Danielle likes eggplant Parmesan. I mean, it's like
just give me the chicken Parmesan. I don't want the eggplant.
You don't want eggplant, even though like it's supposed to be good better for you.
It doesn't taste like chicken.
Sure.
I've never had,
but it's sometimes soggy. So,
that's true.
The point is that okay? So that's your standard eggplant.
Sure.
Black Beauty, been around forever. It's a great plant, does well, easy to grow. But then if you're growing a pack of seeds, you miss out on the long Japanese eggplant. You miss out on the white eggplant. You miss out on all these other varieties. That variety is the spice of life. So your garden is kind of monocultured. You just don't want that. You don't want that. There are some seeds that are just plain hard to grow. Okra seeds are hard to start. And that buy the plants. Just buy the okra plants. Herbs. Another thing, basil. Yeah, you may want a bunch of basil. You may not, no pun there. You want a lot of basil, a lot of parsley, but you can buy these all as plants. And not only that, you can have succession planting where you could buy the plants early and then, depending on the weather, May 15th is a frost-free date. Now, other crops that you can put in and harvest and then replace, that's another show. But cold crops are the ones that are going to be planted soon, and that those plants will be available. And it's going to be like Brussels sprouts, which takes a long time to go. It's going to be spinach and lettuces and all of those things that you can harvest throughout the season. And once it gets hot, they kind of peter out. And you can replace them with plants like herb plants, like, again, more basil and different types of herbs. My gosh, it's just basil alone. Like there's Italian basil. That is common, typical basil. But then there's licorice basil, cinnamon basil, lemon basil. There's all these different varieties that you can put in with plants. But if you're putting in seed, you're dedicated to a gigantic section of basil. Unless you've got acreage, most people have a garden. So again, make sure that you're thinking about what you want to put into your garden, and don't be over infatuated about buying seeds. Only buy the seeds that you know that you're going to want a lot of. And otherwise you're going to kind of get sick, like beans. Like, how many types of beans are there? There's different types, but mostly it's bush beans. Plant those by seed. I'm going to let you in on a trade secret. Sometimes it's just stupid to buy vegetables as seedlings. Beans are the first one. When kindergarten classes grow vegetables in a Dixie cup, what do they use? They use beans. Beans grow in about a week. It takes no problem. And if they left them in the Dixie cup and kept them watered, they'd get beans. They'd be able to harvest their beans from the Dixie cup. Beans can be closer together. Beans are the simplest thing to grow from seed, and you can just put them right in the ground, right? Not start them as seedlings. It's a waste of space. So again, when you buy, it always kills me with beans and some of these that I'm going to list. So a customer comes, do you have any beans? It's like, yes, we do. They're right here. They're 4 bean plants, and they're $2 say the $2.99 for 4 bean plants. That's going to do about 2 feet in your garden. I mean, maybe 3, and we're talking about bush beans. And the point is if you go and you just put them in, and you can do succession planting. What that means is like, all right, to get your first harvest, you pick your beans, and then like say every 2 weeks, you're putting bean seed in, and then you have one harvest and the next harvest. And it doesn't have to be a big row. If you're doing 6 foot of beans, you'll be great. And they don't have to be, far apart, where they don't have to be 4 foot apart because they sprawl. They could be 2 foot apart. And again, beans directly sown into the soil. And again, we're going to talk about preparing the soil, but beans put right in the soil are one of those things that I would never buy as a plant. And I would never start them as a plant. Here's another one. Gonna cut. This is called cutting your nose off to spite your face. Cucumbers. Cucumbers are easy to start in the ground. Super easy. You can start by plants, and the only thing about cucumbers and plants is you can get a bigger variety, like we talked about in the first segment, but they do grow easy. Corn. I feel guilty when we sell corn plants. I mean, corn will yield 3-4 ears, maybe. And so if you're buying 4 plants in a 4-pack and you're putting in corn, and I don't think do you really care whether you have a bicolor corn, but that means it's where it's white and yellow on the same ear, or white corn? Just use seed. Corn comes up. It's grass. It's in the same family. So again, corn is one of those things. Don't buy the plants. Put the seed in the ground. But all these things I'm talking about, we got to wait till after, the middle of May. And that there's some things you have to wait later. Even zucchini directly put into the ground grows easy, but it needs to be watered, but it also needs to be warm. So it's not something where you can do it early on, like a lot of the early things. Like tomatoes I wouldn't do. I would do just from seedlings and plants. I would buy tomatoes, I would buy peppers, eggplant, all of those. But things like onions, like we sell onion plants. But generally, one plant is one onion. Radishes. We've had radishes where they're big enough to just take out of the pack and eat. You do those by seed. You can start the seedlings yourself if you want. But it's also the onion sets are the ones that they're just basically onion set is like a baby onion, little tiny baby onion about the size of a marble, maybe a little bit smaller. You put those in the ground and you're just growing them on to be big onions, and that they're inexpensive and it's an easy way to do it. And those you can plant early. We're almost at the time they can be planted. Usually it's the end of March. Pumpkins. We sell pumpkins, but pumpkins grow really easily in the garden, directly sown in the garden. But here's a rule of thumb. Plant your pumpkins when the kids get out of school. So usually it's not May 15th. You want them so that they're timed right. Plant them later, late May, early June. It's hot. It's warmer. That they'll actually do better, and they'll actually be producing when it's closer to Halloween, as opposed to coming in too early and then they're rotted by the time we get around to Halloween. But the key to success, no matter what you sow directly into the soil in your garden, is making sure that you prepare the soil correctly. The soil, you need to add bumper crop. Bumper crop is a composted blend of everything from composted manure, barnyard manure. It has bat guano. It has like the kitchen sink. It has everything that you need, and that you're going to mix that and that in your soil, and that's going to make your soil lighter and fluffier, and it's going to also help it to be less compact. And the best thing, it's going to add mycorrhiza. It's going to add life into your soil. Mycorrhiza, again, that's the way that the transference to the plant of nutrient value from the soil into the plant. Mycorrhiza, it's a symbiotic relationship of a fungi. Okay, there's more than one, where it goes and it attaches to the root nodule of your plant. And especially when you're sowing seeds, it's a beautiful thing, folks. And that it transfers the elements in the soil to your plant. You know, it's not like, the roots don't have mouths. But if you think of it, the mycorrhiza is the mouth of the plant. So it's in bumper crop. Espoma garden tone, it's in Espoma garden tone. It's in all of the tones from Espoma. And it's all plants, not just vegetable plants. It's flowering plants, it's trees, it's shrubs. They all use the symbiotic relationship of mycorrhiza. And again, it's something that your plants absolutely need. You need to work and turn over your garden. And on some of the things, like, again, you're not going to find carrots. So you have to plant carrots from seed. So again, the deeper that you turn over your garden, the better your carrots are going to be. If they go and they hit a bunch of clay, they're going to be pretty fibrous and they're going to be stubby. So again, you're going to make that soil nice and fluffy, and that you're going to want to go. If I would say the perfect is going to be 1 foot to 18 inches, and that's what your goal is. And it doesn't have to be year number 1, but ultimately that's what your goal is. Working your soil like that will keep the weeds out. And remember, start putting it in your head now. I'm going to do a cover crop. And you can do a cover crop in the summer and plant in the fall. So think about doing a cover crop, and that there are packs of seed where, let's see, that unfortunately I'm holding up in my hand. I grabbed the wrong pack of seeds or sprouts. But there are packs of seed that are cover crops that don't have to be big areas. You don't have to do the entire garden. You just do a section of the garden. So again, if you've got any questions about growing vegetables or what vegetables you should plant and grow in your garden directly, sown directly into the soil, which ones you should start as seeds, or which ones you should buy as plants, call that hotline, 609-685-1880.